Welcome to our Ocean Systems podcast. Here I am with
Dr Pia Weinberg, yes. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Diego.
Always a pleasure. Now, Pia is the Chief Scientist and Director of Venus Shell Systems. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, Venus Shell Systems is a company I started to make some of the research and science that I was doing a reality. So my background is in marine systems ecology, and part of my work at Stockholm University in the 1990s was looking at how aquaculture was devastating coastal systems, polluting waterways with nutrients. Instead of just writing about it and no one doing anything about it, I left academia and had to start a company, Venus Shell Systems, that we now farm a seaweed, capture nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and make food 50 times more productively than other land crops and get it into people's food today.
It is quite novel, and I think it's a great idea into making the public more familiar and kind of more approachable into the climate change situation. Often all these conditions that scientists claim that, for example, biofuels, you use biomass to create energy, are feasible, but often the conditions in which they're tested, it's so unrealistic. A quoted value of 250 tons of dry mass per hectare per year, but in this study, it was under lab conditions that were light levels like ones in the Sahara Desert, by neglecting anything related to dust, temperature, or even just logistics.
Yeah, it's important that science is allowed to explore ideas freely, but it's also equally important that science doesn't get pushed forward as a demonstrated finished solution from a lab, because that's far from the truth. You've got to take it through industry, through society, through the market, because we can run into some big mistakes, like the algal biofuels industry in the 2010 had something like $10 billion spent on the promise of algal biofuels, because the public didn't understand the challenges that the science hadn't resolved yet. And so that was a real failure, a waste of time and a waste of money, that the idea was pushed when it wasn't ripe.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely a waste of credibility for the scientific community. Because often what happens, and I find this in many, say, ads and government campaigns and stuff like that, is that they would use all this misinterpretation, miscommunication of the scientific community. At first, big companies would say climate change is not real. Then the second phase would be, it's real, but it's not human-made because there's some uncertainty in this study here and there. Then it would go to, it might be human-made, but it's not that bad, and you don't need to worry about it. And then all of a sudden, and it's where we are right now, in my opinion, it's that they're saying climate change is no longer preventable, we're doomed. And it is something that, disencourages a lot of public action.
In that case, it's a little bit about society and industry and government not understanding or appreciating the real science that was coming out. And that's where there was a real disconnect between what the scientists in environmental research were saying. So we need to be able to listen to the science, talk to society, government, corporations about, these are the real challenges, and accept them, and then start working on solutions. Sometimes the peer-reviewed science is really important, but peer-reviewed industry development doesn't happen. And so you get a lot of claims out there that are way off track.
Hopefully we can just implement all this technology that we've developed, right? But let's talk about all this technology that you have in Venus Shell System. Like, how do you extract all these nutrients and all in order to put it into the food system?
So we've learnt to understand a very unique species of green seaweed in Australia. The green seaweeds haven't been developed very much offshore in other countries, and so that's our opportunity. We'll grow unique species of a green seaweed biomass. It's got exciting new nutritional benefits. It can be eaten in foods to a much higher level because it's got iodine but not too much. It's full of protein. We can do more protein on a hectare than a cattle farm. We can grow it faster, 50 times faster than other land crops. We don't use fresh water. It will clean up existing nutrient waste streams that are already on the coastline. It can be put into action today. And then the biomass can be used in food straight away, and that's what we've rushed to market with immediately to show this can be taken up in the food space today.
And plus, there's so much space in the seaweed area. There is over 500,000 species, and only 220 macroalgae and 15 microalgae are part of some production chain. And it is crazy. And yet we do so much with it.
Yeah.
We know so little about it, but we do so much. So imagine just unlocking that potential. It is exciting, it is thrilling. Who would have thought that, for example, 3D printing will be useful in this sort of line?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so much that we have to thought. We need to just sit down, think about it, and then action.
You throw it out there with people who do 3D printing and you say, oh, well, I've got this interesting biomass. I'm actually making it. Do you want to see what you can do with it? And so together we've developed that we can make unique bioinks from our seaweed and do 3D printing with it, making it insoluble, blending it with human skin cells that now luckily seem to really recognise and love our particular seaweed extract, which means we can now print full thickness skin tissue.
It definitely needs more attention. Yeah, especially by the youth groups, because they often feel overwhelmed. Phenomenon called eco-anxiety. That is the wonder if the future will prevail or not. There's this one study that surveyed 15,000 people from diverse countries, and 59% were extremely worried. 84% were at least moderately worried. At least half of them felt sad, anxious, angry, hopeless, and even guilty. Okay, let's prevent this by, announcing all this development and all these ideas.
Well, that was part of my frustration, I guess, as well. In the universities, you just felt like, this isn't helping, what will help? And stepping outside and doing it is what I found will help. So we need to start demanding as customers, creating as researchers, and innovating and developing and selling as industry, and supporting as government these solutions. The world and the universe is too exciting to sit there and be sad about the small problems. It's life and the universe is much longer than our time here and now, and let's be part of the change and solution.
Let's just hope that everybody that hears this will be able to get that encouragement to, vote with their minds, with their actual votes in political issues, with their money especially, to help all these solutions come true.
Yeah,
Let's
hope so.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much, Pia, for being our guest.
Thanks, Diego.
And we'll see you next time.
Okay.